Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu, your host. I'm welcoming you, episode 97. We are getting closer to our goal in the American Business Podcast. Our goal is to pass 100 episodes this year. We are getting close in each episode. And today's number is 14,570. That's how much Americans are paying for healthcare every year. This number is from 2023, and this number is also shows about 8% increase comparison to 2022. We talk about the U.S. healthcare industry, and we have a guest for this great subject. Before we get started, I can share some updates about my week. Well, it's been a pretty good week for me. It's been also very active. I had a chance to join different events. I had a chance to also make a presentation, so that was actually pretty good. This week, I had a chance to go to Hapag Industrial Association's Technology for Business committee, and I had a chance to talk about CRM systems and how businesses, small size, mid-size, and other size companies can utilize customer relationship management software systems. So it was a great opportunity for me to make that presentation. I wasn't alone, so I teamed up with our colleague from Sandler, Ryan, and we had a chance to make the presentation together. So he talked about the fundamentals of sales management, as well as how a CRM system should be implemented. And I talk about the CRM software technology, how CRM software technology and the system itself needs to be implemented based on the sales and marketing principles and the system employed in an organization. So that was a great presentation in that sense. We teamed up well. Well, at the end of the day, technology is very important. Companies, especially those who are working so hard to increase sales and marketing results, especially, right? So the systems are very helpful and they need to utilize it. At the same time, the software tools are tools, and they need to follow your sales and marketing strategy. So in that sense, there was a great opportunity for me to team up with Ryan from Sandler and also talk about how companies, small, mid-size, and large companies should utilize the CRM software technology. It was a great opportunity for me to share my professional insights. Well, furthermore, I was invited to an event this week in New York City, and I had a chance to join a conference. Especially, it was a great opportunity for me to meet with marketing professionals as well as finance service professionals. And I joined annual digital marketing for financial services summit. I was invited by our previous guest, as you may remember, Jacob, and he was so kind to invite me to the event. Well, marketing is my expertise, and combined with financial services, I had to be there, right? So that was actually a great opportunity for me to be there. I had a chance to, of course, meet with Matt in person, because we had an interview before in the American Business Podcast. Also, during this event, I had a chance to meet with many different professionals from financial services industry, as well as digital marketers that I had a chance to invite. I also got some potential guests for our coming episodes. So you'll learn about digital marketing for financial services. You learn some from Matt. So we're gonna build on top of it, and it's gonna be a very educational podcast when we have those guests coming in. I'm planning to schedule them for 2026. They were so kind to be joining our episode, our podcast. So I'm looking forward to have different experts, especially in digital marketing for financial services. All right, let's invite our guest and let's get the conversation started about US healthcare industry, as well as other tips that we can learn from our guest. I'm gonna invite our guest to our virtual stage, and I'm gonna get the conversation started. We have Dr. Jacob Kendall with us. Doctor, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I'm glad to have we had a previous conversation on here. I'm glad to catch up again.
Thank you very much for being with us. Yes, that was actually a pretty good conversation. We had a lot of views on YouTube, and I'm glad that you can you can join us today. So how is your week so far? I had a pretty busy week, so I had pictures and everything. All the content was ready, so I was sharing with our audience. Please tell us about your week. How is it going so far?
Well, not as busy as yours. The main thing I can say is more on the personal side is you probably don't have as much of this. It's really, really hot and humid down here in Alabama. We're finally getting proper fall weather, so that's nice. It makes a huge difference in quality of life.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is really good. Well, why don't we get started with our conversation, if that's okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you, learning from you. We had a great podcast, as you mentioned before, and time flies, right? It was a couple of months ago, and now it is time to discuss more. I've been looking forward to it. Well, one of your expertise and your organization actually focus on and specialize in 4D aging concept, right? Would you please tell us about it for our audience, especially, and for our listeners to learn about it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, 4D stands for four dimensional. It's a concept that I created based on it's what is the case anyway. I'm just trying to give an imagery to demonstrate what's going on with how we function in the world, how we age in the world. I have a broadly interdisciplinary background, the foundation of which I have a PhD in gerontology, and then I have training in social work, public health. I recently completed a degree in theology, and so I really my skill is looking at aging across these different disciplines and industries. And kind of connecting the dots between them. And as I've moved along, researching aging, learning about it, networking with many people who are in some form or another focused on older adults or aging or whatnot, I kind of just realized, that this happens in four dimensions. It's the four dimensions of space-time. That's not revolutionary concept, but many of the solutions that we have, say in healthcare, are one-dimensional, and that's not getting us where we need to be, because we live in a rapidly aging society. We're getting older, and aging doesn't just occur at the individual level. When we think about aging, of course, we can zoom in and look at genes and molecules and their organs and body and whatnot, but I like to zoom out because I was trained by epidemiologists and demographers, so I'm really interested in knowing what's going on when it comes to the family, the neighborhood, the community, the state, the country, and what are the implications at these different levels for the fact that we live in an aging population. So the imagery that I'll give to kind of explain what I mean by this is that if you imagine that you're navigating via GPS, so you input your destination in GPS to drive there, and it gives you a route, okay? And but there's a lot of information that it doesn't give you. What do the houses and buildings look like around you? And what are the people who are walking on the street doing? What are the other drivers doing? What's the weather like that day? Sometimes it can tell you if there's a detour, you need to take another route, or if there's a crash, but there has to be enough time for that. So it can't give you all that information. And we could go on and on and on listing the kinds of information that we get when we drive from one point to another that GPS doesn't give us. Okay, so there's all this information. When it comes to getting from point A to point B, GPS navigation is usually successful, and usually that's enough. The reason I use that metaphor is because when it comes to the solutions that we have to challenges that are related to living in an aging society, whether we're talking about aging as an individual, and I think you're going to ask me about some tips for how to navigate healthcare, so I can focus on the individual level, but I mean all the way up to what are the policies that we have in place. Whatever level you're on, if all you're using is GPS, then you're missing all these other variables that GPS doesn't give you. Unlike driving from one point to another, GPS navigation is probably enough. Addressing aging in all of its different forms, the metaphorical GPS navigation is not enough, but that's still the kinds of tools that we're using. So 4D aging is the model I created to point out to us what are these other things that we're missing that need to be a part of what we need to be doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's kind of a brief overview of what it is. And I speak on that. I do speaking, and I'm on a lot of podcasts talking about it. I educate health leaders and health providers on these concepts.
What type of questions do you get from these audience when you make these presentations typically?
Yeah. Well, if I'm talking to someone who is more in the macro sphere, so they might be working with policy or economics or whatever, kind of the bigger picture stuff. Inevitably, and sometimes even providers or patients, inevitably, I'm going to get the question of, well, if you zoom out far enough, you're going to get to the point where you butt up against the ceiling where the medical industrial complex is. So the pharmaceutical companies, health insurance companies, and then they ask me like, why would they care about this? And I respond, they don't give a damn. I'm not trying to change the minds or change the practices of insurance companies because I think it's a futile effort to try to convince billionaires to stop loving money. But we all have to find our place within where our particular niche where we can make a difference. I have a social work degree, but I never wanted to be a therapist. Most social workers go into therapy, or a lot of them do. And if you're a medical provider or a social worker, a therapist, nurse, whatever, most of the work that you do is on the patient level. That's great. We need people like that. And you may not be involved in policy at all, but we got to have people doing that. I'm a little bit more macro. I think that even within the system that we have, which is governed by, again, the medical industrial complex, insurance companies, for example, even within that system, which I think is completely by design, it's inefficient by design, it's unhelpful by design. Even within that system, I still think that there's a lot more power that health organizations, nonprofits, local governments, and even patients and caregivers and providers, there's more power we have within that system than the system wants us to believe that we do. So, I'm not up here trying to change what the health insurance companies. I mean, they're too powerful. So I'm more like, below that a little bit. How can I help health leaders find more autonomy and not just feel completely beaten down by the system, because it's really easy to feel that way. That's a really common question that I get.
As I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, and an American on average spends close to $15,000 a year. That's a lot of money for healthcare that's been spent. That's been spent, and we all pay it every single year. That's just how it is. We look at these numbers, and they just getting bigger and bigger. Nothing is getting more affordable in that sense in the healthcare field. Having said that, do you have any tips for people in terms of how to navigate the U.S. healthcare system, how to get affordable care, or how for them to take care of their families is as much as possible?
Yeah. Well, part of my 4D structure is that no single disciplinary perspective is sufficient. And especially, I'll use older adults as an example here, since they are huge consumers of healthcare. By the way, as someone who's had 2 open heart surgeries and I have various other complex medical needs, I'm higher than that average you mentioned. I feel that coursing through my veins every day. And the numbers, they are outrageous. I'll focus on older adults. Unfortunately, it's very common for older adults to go to the doctor, and physicians are not properly trained in geriatric medicine specifically. When I was in graduate school, if I remember correctly, of all the hundreds of residency sites for medical graduates around the country, of all of them, only 11 had geriatric residencies. And that to me points to the discrepancies better than anything else can. And so it's really common when an older adult goes into a doctor and say, oh, your knee's hurting. Well, that's just aging, or, oh, you forgot your car keys, or oh, your back is hurting, or whatever. That's all just aging. No, it isn't. I think that older adults who are patients need to realize, like, listen, your providers are not trained in how to care for your unique needs that come with being older. And you're going to have to be an advocate for yourself, both within the exam room and outside of it, and realize that some of the answers that you need, they have to come from other sources. I'm in a Facebook group of other people who have had heart surgery like me, of other people who are on blood thinners like me. And I've learned so much from those groups because I'm learning from other people who have been experiencing it for 5, 10, 20 years. right? And I've brought up some things that I learned in these groups with my providers, and they're like, oh, well, I hadn't thought of that. Like, we can't expect our providers to know everything. So the medical view of aging is valuable, but it's not the only one. We got to think in other dimensions, right? So that's one thing I will say is don't only rely on what your doctor tells you. You need, and hopefully you have good relationships with good providers. And you know, that's really important. And if you do, then what they tell you is valuable. It's just not complete. So that's definitely one thing that I would say is learn how to advocate for yourself, for sure. For caregivers, it's definitely like if you're a woman and your husband has dementia, or if you're an adult child and your older parent has had a stroke. That's a situation that I've been in. Caregiving is really damn hard. It affects people's finances, their social lives. The people who are caregivers often have lower life expectancy compared to people who are not. It really can run you down. It can split families in two. So as a caregiver, it's really important that you learn to be a self-advocate. Ask for help. Give up this whole notion that it's the American way for you to take care of this on your own and not ask for help. No, you need to ask for help and be an advocate for yourself. That's one of the main messages that I can preach and preach and preach on. Advocate for yourself. Another thing I'll say real quick is insurance companies, and frankly, I think it's getting worse because now they're using AI to do it, but there's a really high percentage of insurance claims that are denied, a very high percentage. Of the people who take the time and effort to appeal those claims so that they won't be denied, the last I read is more than half of them are successful, which one means that most denials are just BS anyway. Two, it means that if you do advocate for yourself, you actually can be successful. So don't just simply accept the so-called reality, the initial response or whatever that you get from insurance companies. A lot of times, if you push back and go through those, you appeal the denial, a lot of times you're going to be successful. Now that can be time consuming, but there are some folks out there who offer that kind of service. So be a self-advocate and be okay with pushing back a little bit. Those are two things I would say. There are all kinds of things I can talk about, but I know we're limited in time.
Well, since the last time we had our first episode, we have one question that I really love to ask you and get your insights and your thoughts. If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back and why?
Yeah, when you prepare for this question, the two that I said are early Christian history within the first few centuries AD, and then early American history. And I read significantly on both of those, but I decided I would go back to early American history because I can relate to them more. And what I would want to do, I'm assuming you asked that question as if I will know what I know now, that I'm going back to those time periods. And what I would want to do is tell the founding fathers who brilliantly created these documents and a lot of the writings that they had. I mean, there's something that's very it's really fascinating and quite impressive. I would go and tell them like, hey, listen, this is what the US looks like in 2025. I'm sure that they would be very surprised at a lot of the things. I would want them to take that insight and design our Constitution to better be able to adapt to these times, because I don't think that they imagine how we are now with that Constitution. And I know that they designed it to be amended, but it's a really hard process to amend. And our population size now is many orders of magnitude larger, which I don't think that they would have anticipated. So that's why I would go back to that time period and say, hey, you need to throw a few extra things in this Constitution to prepare for what's eventually going to come to be the case.
Well, in addition to being an expert in U.S. healthcare industry and being a doctor, you're also a business owner. So what inspires you? What gets you going on a daily basis as a business owner from your point of view?
Yeah, I want to be clear. I'm not a medical doctor. So I mentioned, with all my professional training, I obviously know all these things about aging and the implications there. But on the personal side, I mentioned a little bit ago that I've had 2 open heart surgeries. and very, hundreds of encounters with our healthcare system, with providers and whatnot. And it's impossible to have those kinds of experiences and not but right up against the inefficiencies and sometimes the absurdities of our healthcare system. So if you have complex medical needs, then you know what I'm talking about, right? And having had these 2 surgeries, I mean, that's a lot to put your body through, and it's expensive. That was very costly wisdom to gain. The insights and wisdom that I've gained from having my own health background was costly. I would give up all the wisdom that I have right now in order to not have had my surgeries, but I can't do that, right? So I have all these insights that I've learned from having to navigate our healthcare system, and I don't want to waste that. I want to use it and help people how I can by having these kinds of conversations, right? By helping people navigate the system and helping health leaders and whatnot. I just don't want to waste that. I don't want it to be all for naught. So that's a huge driver of why I do what I do right now. I don't want to waste it.
For those who like to continue this conversation, who likes to be in touch with you, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
My website is 4daging.com. 4daging.com. You can find me on LinkedIn as well, Jacob Evans Kendall. And contact me if you're interested in talking more. I have the 2 main the titles and descriptions on my website, on my speaking page. And then I have a patients page on there where I offer all kinds of resources for patients who, like me, have major chronic disease and their caregivers. So 4daging.com.
Jacob Kendall, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Bye.
Thank you very much. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching the American Business Podcast, episode 97. As you know, our online networking event is coming up. It is scheduled for November 21st. I hope you can join us. What is cool about the Connectional America Business Alliance online business networking event is that as a business professional, you'll be on the American Business Podcast. You'll be in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast subscribers and followers. And at the same time, you'll be networking with other business professionals. This is limited seating, and I hope you can join us. It's a great opportunity for you to promote your business, your products and services, and also meet with other business professionals. That's scheduled for November 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. That is the QR code on the screen. Please scan the QR code. It'll take you to our registration page. You can fill up the page and you can join us on November 21st. And I hope you can make it. All right, we have new sponsors, new supporters. Let's talk about them. Pupfish USA. They are experts in data destruction, and they are passionate about environment. Especially, they are specialized in electronic and data destruction. Let's say you have compliance requirements. You are in healthcare industry. You are a clinic, a hospital, a legal firm, for example. You need to dispose your electronics and your laptop and other equipment, for example, and they come with hard drives, right? There is data in it. Don't just throw it. Get in touch with Pupfish USA, and they will pick up the equipment from you, from your location, and they will destruct with their specialized equipment. I saw those equipment, and they work in an environment with my own eyes. So it's a great facility, secure. They really destruct data. Everything will be destroyed completely. And they also document it. They're gonna send you certificate and any other proof that they can share that you need. And more importantly, that's a great company. You love working with them. Great people, very hardworking, very professional, very friendly. And when you get in touch with them, make sure you heard about them from the American Business Podcast with the discount code ABP. So you'll enjoy that benefit as well. Are you building your team? Do you need an event for team building and bonding? Consider SpotCorp Events. Great company, another great company in different field. They'll come, they'll talk to you, they'll put together an event, and they'll help your team bond, and they'll help you build your team and get them closer. These events that they put together are actually very detailed and very interactive, You'll love working with them. Great people, very professional, and they are specialized in their field. SpotCorp Events. I have their QR code on the screen, along with a code that you can get a discount, and also you can tell them that you heard about them from the American Business Podcast. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you directly to their calendar, so you can schedule time with them for discovery and just get the conversation started right away. Okay, in this episode, we are also starting to promote books. The third element is a book that I also received from the author himself. And Randy Lehman wrote this book, and this book is about keys to activating law of attraction. And he put together great thoughts. He's a scientist by training and by experience of decades. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to the pages to the book's Amazon page that you can learn more about the book, and you can also order the book if you're interested. And highly recommend. I have the copy. I'm in the process of reading it. I haven't finished it yet, but so far I'm happy to read it. So that's a recommended book as well. And I have the QR code on the screen that if you like to learn more about the book and if you like to place an order. If you are interested in short-term rentals, Odyssey is the company that you need to speak to. Odyssey is specialized in short-term rental market and short-term rental assets and asset investment. Their system is to take you step-by-step way of investing in the short-term rental, short-term asset market. I have their QR code on the screen that you can get in touch with them. And when you talk to them, make sure you tell them that you heard about them from the American Business Podcast. If you are interested in advertising, if you are interested in promoting your business in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you, understand your organization, your goals, what you like to achieve, and we'll be happy to partner with you and help you promote your products, your services, and your organization. And our email is americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. There is a QR code on the screen. It'll take you to our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, you can subscribe, and you can also share your thoughts. Please, we love to hear from you. What do you think about these episodes and other episodes that we have? Today is the 97th episode, so we have many different subjects and subject matter experts. After you watch this video and other videos that we put together in each episode, please put your comments in the chat box and share your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Thank you very much and have a great weekend.